Welcome for this edition of the 2024 Adaptive Cities Innovator Awards. We're very, very excited today because we have worked together alongside our judges and a pretty bunch of more than 200 applicants, screened over more than 1,000 companies around the world, working together in climate tech to fix our city's mess, to define what are the top 40 finalists. These companies are actually defining, I think, and we think with some of the judges here, the future of what our cities will look like on a more sustainable, greener, and climate positive fashion. So this is one of the first event in the series that we're going to do. The next one will be offline, actually, with a grand finale in New York during Climate Week. This is just a super exciting initiative that we do today alongside very large corporates and VCs and angel investors. So thank you so much for joining, and thank you all for your interest in decarbonizing and enhancing the resilience of our cities to climate change. What you guys do is amazing, and we just want to create this community platform to give more visibility to the innovators that really deserve it. Before I introduce our great judges, I want to share with you a little bit about what we do with this community and our fund, so everybody gets aware of what's the big message here. So I'm John Fall. I'm the general partner of Atlas Capital. I'm angel investor and VC that invest in decarbonizing and adapting the built environment across North America and Southeast Asia. So we believe that there is a generational transformation across climate change and AI, and we believe that there's an opportunity to leverage those new technologies to help cities to adapt to the climate change era. And so our investments are answering that question. And we believe that with the partnership of regional industrial conglomerates in Southeast Asia and beyond that are really eager to pilot innovations in that space, we can create a platform for innovators to really pilot and develop those innovations in a great market like Southeast Asia. And beyond this region, which is a great region, but we've seen that a lot of innovations in Europe and the US are looking for that platform, partially in the deep tech, hardware, climate space, and this is where our global community is something real now. So our community have been putting together more than 4 events, online and offline, over the past 2 years. And our VC is created a community VC model that is quite unique, as you can see today. We have a climate tech pitch in many cities that are happening. We have climate tech dinners that are happening. And all together, we've done basically something incredible, which is creating the first and largest deal flow of climate tech companies in Southeast Asia, specifically for the built environment. And we're looking to share that together with other venture capital in the space. It's not something that we do for ourselves. We really care about building an ecosystem here, and we're working in that pro bono. So any contacts, any reference, any invitation is welcome. And thank you so much for this in the future. This initiative is led by the Southeast Asia Pacific Climate Tech Coalition, which is a movement that we created alongside a few of my friends in the VC space and a few partners who just believe that their own action needed to be bigger than themselves. And it's not about just the money here, it's about our kids, it's about the planet, but it's about making businesses that actually can scale. And to scale, they need to make sales, they need to make profits, and this is the way. So together, alongside a group of VCs, angel investors, and corporate, we decided to commit and to influence $1 billion of climate innovation, investments, market expansion, and commercialization to build a greener future in the Southeast Asian Pacific region. But to achieve that, we actually need a global network. And that's why I'm talking with you right now from San Francisco, where I spend a lot of my time these days between San Francisco and Southeast Asia, Singapore, Bangkok. But this is really what it takes, I believe, to create such momentum. And so, with this said, let's not forget that we climate change is here already. It's not like, okay, in the future we are already going from 4 seasons to 2. I believe personally that this is too late to stop climate change. Now it's about adaptation. And so today, the theme of the companies that we found are really much towards that. And the conglomerate and corporate judges that we have along the table, GLL, Capitaland, and a few incredible others, are all towards that dedication. So thanks again for joining. So this ecosystem is creating conferences, online events, offline events like this one. And this is some of the pictures that we've had. And this is some of the online events that we've had. So there's really a bunch of really interesting people in that gang. And I hope you guys can leverage this, help each other, because I think we're doing that for the right reason. Now, without further ado, let's talk about the Adaptive Cities Innovator Award. So the opening for application has started on the 1st of March. And so over those few months, we received 1,000 screen companies and over 200 applicants. And out of these applicants today, on 27th of June, you're seeing the 40 semi-finalists with the 10 pre-selected that are actually going to present. And then for those semi-finalists, they will be all invited in a special thing, which is hosted on August. It's actually in a castle hosted by a billionaire who is an investor in climate and is a very big celebrity in France. So that's the Climate Tech Day investor retreat in France. So we already shared some of the invitations here for some of the companies to present, alongside 20 family offices, 4 billionaires in that castle. And they also will be invited for the finalists to our Climate Tech Day Investor Summit in New York during Climate Week, which is probably one of the biggest climate gathering in the world, the Climate Week. And so with Atlas Capital, we run that yearly flagship conference in New York during Climate Week on 25th of September. And so all these startups will be invited, but all of you guys watching here are also invited if you can make it. Without further ado, I would like to thank our judges and partners who committed to be interested in potentially looking at these companies and investing alongside into these startups as well. So we have Christian Denacar from Bouygues, one of the largest construction company in the world, Fortune 500, but very active in that space. We have LK from GLL, also a very, very large player in the real estate construction business. We have Kunpeng from ADB, Asian Development Bank, and a very big actor in the climate space as well. We have Alexander Bent, one of my fellow VC, Undivided Venture, which we have a lot of respect from, and which is doing a lot of great work in the built environment space. We have Eli here, one of our advisors for Atlas Capital, and angel investor based in the UK. We have Kunut here, representing one very large conglomerate of air product branch in Asia, Bangkok Industrial Gas, and which is super active in the space. And we have Ariel here from Climate First, based in the UK, a great accelerator, which is also doing a lot of great ecosystem support. And so these are the judges today. We will have them to present and share a little bit of what they do, 1 minute each in a second. But we also have a lot more partner judges who are not joining tonight because we cannot have everybody talk about themselves for 5 hours. But um, we have great people. And I think Thomas is on the call today from TK Partner, a very incredible team that I met recently, also very active in investing in Southeast Asian space. We have Mary from Investible, with a household name, and a few others, like Lynette, for example, from Capitaland, which is one of the households in the real estate construction space as well. Without further ado, I'm gonna let the judges that are here to introduce themselves, 1 minute each, and then we'll get to start with the startup presentation. All right, so why don't we have the judges starting? I think if Kun Elk, if Elk you want to start, you can.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Elke. I'm heading up the sustainability consulting for DLL. So what we do is that we actually help investor and occupier clients to decarbonize their built environment. And therefore, any solutions that will help to drive that is what we would like to know, so that we can help our clients to support that. Now, just a bit of background: I actually used to work for some utilities and was running the ecosystem activities for one of the big utilities here in APAC, and was driving the free electrons program. So it was a partnership of 10 utilities going to the market to talk to a lot of startups, and I did it for about 4 years. So very pleased to be here and to see what is changing and all the new ideas that are coming up. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here and for your support, LK. All right, Kunat, do you want to introduce BYG?
Yes. Hello. Thanks for having me. I'm not from BAG as a part of Air Products and Chemical Inc. from the US. We are the largest green hydrogen facilities investment in real action. And we also are an industrial gas and climate tech provider to our industrial sector. So most of our customer lines across various industries, from heavy industries such as steel, oil and gas, petrochemical, to medium and light industry, electronics, automotive, and food and beverage, and hospital. Our purpose is to generating a cleaner future to the world with our decarbonize solutions. For example, we provide hydrogen for decarbonization in power generation grid, and also for heat uses in factory, or hydrogen for mobility as well. Or another application is oxygen with the equipment technology applied in steel and glass sectors to reduce fuel consumption and also emission. We also provide the AI software to optimize air compressor network in factory. So most of all, we try to figure out and finding partners who have solutions that can help decarbonize their factory. With the strong industrial background, and we are very close to the market, I can be act as a user or customer to provide you an idea. So we can be both your strategic partners for vast market technology adoption and scaling up through our customers, and also be your investment fund as well. With the scale of market that we have, and with the scope of new technology you would have, we could together drive the speed for the market and industry to achieve net zero much sooner. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Kunat. BYG have been working with us for a long time now, and they really walk the talk in decarbonization. So this is one of these great conglomerate really here to build that ecosystem. So thank you so much. I think we have Kun Peng here for Asia Development Bank.
Hi everyone, thank you for having me. I'm Pang from ADB Ventures. We are the VC fund of Asian Development Bank. We focus on investing in climate tech startup that drives significant climate impact in developing Asian Pacific. Our typical investment stage range from pre-seed, seed to around like Series A, roughly like 100 1,000 to up to 4 million. And we hope to really leverage on our strong regional network to support our portfolio company to grow in the region and also beyond. I'm excited to be here today and looking forward to hear from all of you.
Well, thank you so much, ADB Venture, for joining this great ecosystem event and being our partner for the whole time. I think we have Alexander Bent here. Hey, Alexander, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, John. Hey, John. Thanks for the intro before. And again, very, I think what you guys are doing at Atlas is awesome. So appreciate the invite today. I come from a real estate background. I used to be a developer. And so, understand the construction and real estate space quite well. I also used to be an angel into prop tech since about 2015 and was very interested in how real estate was digitizing and also how sustainability could be a benefactor of that digitization in order to scale. So I set up Undivided Ventures, which is a venture capital platform in 2021. John and I share similar sort of thesis, I think, although I don't just look at Southeast Asia, I look at, North Asia as well. I'm currently in Tokyo at the moment. We essentially source most of our technologies from Europe. We think that's where, most of the innovation has been happening over the last few years, most of the exciting stuff. We look at Series C to Series A, and we can follow on to Series B. Ticket sizes 300 to 2 million. So, great to meet you all today and look forward to looking at some of these companies.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alexander. I think we have Ariel. We have Ariel here from Climate First. If you want to introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, everyone. And John, thank you so much for inviting me to join and for organizing this amazing event. At Climate First, we invest and support climate tech companies with massive decarbonization potential and attractive business cases. Apart from backing about 30 companies, early stage climate tech companies from Israel, Europe, and the UK, we also have a scale-up program, which is what I lead at Climate First. Basically, each of our cohorts has 10 leading climate tech companies from all different verticals, including, of course, the built environment. And we provide sessions on different climate tech topics from financing, carbon markets, legal and regulation trends, and more. We have a network of over 120 global mentors from different backgrounds, from scientists and engineers, climate tech investors, and entrepreneurs that support the companies. And we also have a London roadshow, which is the highlight of the program. At the end of the cohort, the CEOs of each company join us for a few very intense days in London to meet the largest climate tech investors in Europe and in the UK. And they really get to meet hundreds of potential investors, corporates, strategic partners throughout the events and meetings that we organize. I think there's a few people here that were part of our last cohort, Eli, for example. And yeah, we're very proud to be able to support the ecosystem with this program. And I basically lead the screening of the companies, selecting them, organizing the program, and also supporting our alumni after the program as well. And also, just last point, there's two of our alumni that are actually participating here today in this event. So we're really glad to see them soon.
Yeah, and this is really with your collaboration, all the judges being online and partners and all this ecosystem, right? Please send your portfolio companies that you think should be showcased into that awards. We want to make them famous. Like this is all about the entrepreneurs. We believe those guys need more visibility, and it's not just being featured on this website. We're taking them to New York City for Climate Week. We're gonna just talk about them to everybody, and we are going to write checks. So yeah, this is all the idea. So thank you, Ariel. I think we have Christian here, and then we'll have Eli as well. Christian, can you hear us?
Yes. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you, John, for the invitation. I'm very proud to be part of this story. Just to let you know that I work for a very large company who is responsible of a lot of CO2 emissions. So we are doing our best to reduce this. And the idea is, as I'm a research engineer, I'm looking for startups, and I think that there is plenty of that could be helpful for the construction sector, and very keen on specific energy aspect, as I'm a mechanical engineer by background, and also working all over the world, building what lot of type of buildings, of infrastructure, of districts. So very, very, very much interested in all the solutions that you will propose, and for sure to be tested and used afterwards by our company. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Christian, for taking the time. And yeah, Bouygues is one of these household names. Most of the buildings that you see, the big skyscrapers, they've helped building it. So yeah, great partner to have, great client to have, great investors to have. Okay, and then we have Eli, because we wanted to have a few of these angel investors to be in the mix as well. Just so you guys know, we have more than 600 angel investors and VCs, CVCs into that climate tech coalition as of today. And Eli is one of these angels who is also really walking the talk. And so I wanted to have this representation as well. Thanks, Eli, for joining from London, right?
Yeah, hi, and I think thanks, John. And I think the magic is when you see people that you've met. You know, I've met a lot of people that are here in other places. So I'm Eli. I'm based in London. I'm working with VCs and startups, both investing and also advising. And happy to work with Atlas and John as well. In the past, I was a venture partner at Siemens Energy Ventures, building their venturing arm in CVC, and also before that, entrepreneur in residence at BP, and also built 4 companies. One of them is Climate Tech, the last one. So I know what it's like to be on the founder side and also on the investment side. And good luck to everyone.
Wonderful. So we are going to have the startups presenting in 1 minute. But before that, I wanted to say thank you to our team with the Atlas Capital, but also with the Climate Tech Coalition, because they work very hard. We have people in San Francisco, we have people in London, we have people in Bangkok and Singapore. And we have actually a lot of people helping us from other VC funds to create those events as well. And they work very hard for this. So for everyone present here, if you want to allocate one of your team member, being an associate or a marketing person, to help us coordinate some of these events activities, we invest those time pro bono. You can too. And I think this is how, with a very lean organization and not much cash, we can really create more interactions and more connection within the climate tech ecosystem. And God knows how much cities are polluting and how much we need those conglomerate and those corporates to collaborate with those innovations. So thank you in advance to think about that and send us all the love you can with our next LinkedIn and other YouTube videos that we'll be sharing about this climate award. And now, without further ado, let's get started with the startups. So we have AC3D and Max doing amazing innovation in the space of 3D printing for cement, based in Dubai here. Max, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you, John.
Wonderful. So yeah, I think you can start whenever you're ready. And as you know the rules, we have our timekeeper here in the call, and his job is to be, so you will have 5 minutes to present and then 5 minutes to answer judges' question. And whenever you're ready, you can get started, Max.
Yeah, fair enough. Thank you, John. I'm glad to be here, and it's awesome event and initiative. Will be happy to tell you more about what is AC3D doing. Let me share my presentation. Just 1 moment. I think you can see it now, right? Can you see it?
Okay, no, it's okay. No, we can.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I'm Max, CEO at EC3D and co-founder, and we're building a construction 3D printing technology, which will make construction cheaper, greener, and more productive. So basically, we're producing our own construction 3D printers. It's like a huge, even up to 5-story building printers, which allow you to print buildings on site and off site. We work with material mixes, as well as mentioned geopolymer, which will eventually help us to remove cement out of the play. And we provide all other turnkey solutions for developers, like full support, maintenance, upgrades, repairments, whatever they might need to implement and successfully maintain this technology. So basically, we address several problems. The first one, of course, is the social part, is the problems of affordable housing, as the costs are rising and availability is lowering. And now we have a productivity bottleneck for conventional technology, which is not allowing to increase the building amount. While in upcoming 30 years, just imagine, we will need to build more houses that have been built in previous 2000 years. Another thing is ecological problems of construction industry. It creates 3 major challenges to deal with. First one is the carbon footprint of construction industry, which is almost half of the global carbon emissions. The other one is emission of materials production. So if you can see, cement is close to 10%. And by far a big problem is waste generation. Because if you imagine like whole world's waste is 10 dumpsters, 8 of them would be filled with construction waste. EC3D can tackle those problems. So basically, our technology is drastically reducing construction costs and lead times, literally turning months into days. And I believe it's only solution with all of us to increase productivity enough to deal with current demand and offer affordable housing for everyone. Other thing is a new quality, as we deal efficiently, aside from providing top-notch houses with ecological issues in the industry. So we provide geopolymers, special materials which don't use cement as part of it, and potentially leading us to net zero construction process. The other thing, we offer a smart energy efficient wall, which allow us increase the building's energy efficiency and decrease recurring energy consumption of such buildings. And of course, to the end of the day, we believe that our solution, which is something like a foundation of future sustainable tomorrow, is we offering a social-friendly environment which will build new housing, new city landscapes, and making it green, minimizing construction waste, reducing carbon footprint. At the first stage, we aim at low-rise housing market because it's huge and it grows very quickly and demand is really huge right away. But in future, we plan to disrupt all the construction industry, and we even have solution for high-rise construction 3D printing. This is our machine. It's called Mason 2. It's a flagman machine that you could see in Dubai now. And we also work with this in US. Those machines are allowing us to print buildings on-site and off-site up to 3-story buildings. And it will allow us very easy install and build the new communities in no time. So one machine can print up to 100 buildings in a year. We provide an outstanding printing quality which no one else can meet, and it additionally reduce the cost and need to do the finishing of such buildings. And we have long-lasting ongoing R&D plans that allow us to automate up to 90% of construction works in the future. So our machines would be not just printing walls, but it will be printed ceilings, foundations, doing supplementary works like finishing. So basically, it will be all-in-one solution. Most of our features and advantages are patented, so it's all proprietary tech. And if you compare us to anyone else in the market, you would see a lot of unique things which no one else has. Same if we go to conventional production, we already done several case studies with our partners, with developers, checking their houses. As you see, it all of us, like this example, more than 20% savings in just one building. So I wanted to show a few designs to show how we can integrate the smart architecture with green technologies and provide flexible and beautiful solutions to everyone. First of all, you need to understand it's like a flexible tool set for construction company, and how to use it they decide. I mean, they could print cities infrastructure, high-rise buildings, low-rise buildings. So basically, it's very flexible. Our business model is providing A to Z solution to construction development companies. So we sell them construction 3D printers, we sell them all the necessary services, and promoting technology to the market. This year we released technology and got our first sales, so we got 250,000 revenue, 250,000 revenue, sorry, and secured 2 contracts for 3D printers. We also secured several pilot projects for this year for Montana in US and Nevada in US, and several projects in Dubai. We have pre-orders and interest from many construction companies all over the world, and we've been a part and supported by many major accelerators like Alchemist, Mass Challenge, Plug and Play. This year we also printed our first house in Dubai, and we printed the big project with benches for Dubai beautification department. So we have all our first application. We already changed the cities to the better look. We have a strong team of more than 20 people now, actually, who have expertise in mechanical engineering, construction engineering, business development. And now we are raising our late seed round. So we raised already half of it, and we're looking for 700,000 more to deal with all these issues and make the world a better place. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Max, for joining from Dubai. This is a very interesting company. I was just meeting Sam and Alexei from IT Building here in San Francisco, which I think you know. So yeah, it's very interesting.
Definitely.
All right, great. So do we have questions from the judges? We have 5 minutes.
Hey, Max. First of all, thank you so much for the presentation. I wanted to ask how developed is the technology and what's your current capacity in terms of I know you mentioned that one machine can print 100 buildings, right, in the future. So
Yeah.
what's the current status?
Well, for example, this year, like a few months ago, we printed our first building, like a touristic unit in Dubai. It's like 20 square meters. So it's like one family touristic unit, like glamping. And it took us just 11 hours to print it in a test mode. And we expect it to be printed in regular mode for just 4 hours. And this is high-class monolithic construction, which would last hundreds of years. So the potential capacity is very high, and we're actually working to make it even faster. For example, now we recently patented a special print head, which has several nozzles. So it will allow us to boost our productivity by 2-3 times in the future.
Wonderful. I think for judges, you feel free to raise your hand. So Eli, I think you can go next.
I will. So I'm quite surprised of the cost, which is lower than traditional cost. In Europe, we try again for 3D printing, but it's still more expensive than traditional. I mean, so how can you justify that?
Well, it's a good question, and that's actually a reason why I created the startup. You know, we follow the pioneers. So, like I say, we are a second generation of construction 3D printer company, because we are not just solving problems of traditional construction, but we are also solving problems of other construction 3D printed companies that were a first wave. So, of course, for us, it's important that we have very high quality surface. So you don't need to spend more on additional finishing. You get like a high class, beautiful house at the end, and you don't need to spend money more to improve it. Another thing, we work a lot with material mixes, because that's cost driver for such projects. So we have a several material engineers team, and in future we would be able to reduce this cost even more, like 20-30% more reduction in the future. We developed a special approach when we can use locally available cheap materials, so we can neglect the import. Nowadays, there are very few manufacturers of material mixes, so such expertise is crucial for industry growth, and that's the reason that you mentioned that nowadays it's actually quite expensive to build, because, for example, let's say material for 3D printing could cost $400-500 per ton, while traditional concrete is $100 per ton. So we have an approach with our material engineers teams that we can get this cost like $150 per ton, and it would make technology totally feasible for every market. Another story is reduction of construction speed, because we have way higher productivity than our competitors. So of course we have lower overhead costs, we have lower payrolls, I mean, considering one building, and this together creates this economy. We already work with major developers in the region, and we confirmed these numbers with their real projects. So that's actually justified. I believe we can go in details and separate discussion. because it's like a long chat.
Wonderful.
We have
Okay.
1 minute. Yeah, we have 1 minute left.
Okay, Eli and LK, you want to fight? I think we go with Eli as he raised his hand virtually first. And feel free to write down the question later directly to Max for any of the judges interested. Please go ahead, Eli.
Yeah, so thanks, Max, for the presentation. My question is, do you sell the printers or do you sell the output of the printers? Right. So I think that, and what are the benefits of selling either for you?
We are focusing on selling 3D printers and all necessary support to company because it creates for us less operational input. So for us, it's easier to sell 10 printers than build one house regarding the effort we invest. And so we want to become like a Boeing in construction industry. We want to sell best equipment and we don't want to deal with passengers. We have experts in this. You know, key advantage here because we work in many geographies and every geography has different legislation, different building codes. So for us, simpler to provide the solution to companies that know how to deal with this. And then we just together with them integrate this in their business models.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, LK, do you want to still ask a question? I think we can do it if you want.
It was around the business model, so I think I got an answer. I'm just wondering how people are, like, because construction is often done for small houses at least by smaller construction firms. How are they going to afford that big investment? What do you have a view?
We are working closely with leasing companies, so of course we want to build a business model which would be affordable both for big players and the small players. And we already have research in major markets we work, like North America, MENA region, to build like a partnerships with banks to offer such solution for a small company so they can easily do it and lend machine from us for small price subscription.
Okay, thank you so much, Max. And thanks you, every judges, for your question. You have the form to score each of the companies. Feel free to also write down into that form questions you may have directly for the entrepreneurs. And keep in mind that it's all about the connecting game. So if you have any person in your team in the corporate world that you want to connect them with, this is really helpful. If you have potential investors that you want to recommend them with also. So yeah, it's all about connecting and showcasing here. All right, without further ado, we have David Gory from Airbuild here in San Diego, United States. Hey, David, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Hey, everyone, how are you doing? Well, I mean, you guys aren't going to reply, but I hope everyone's doing okay.
We're good. All right, David, looking forward to hear your presentation. The last one was pretty good, so I'm looking forward to hear your progress.
Thank you. I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yep, we can.
Awesome. So Airbuild is building sustainable cities through carbon negative infrastructure. Buildings account for over 40% of our global emissions. And currently, over 140 countries and 1,000 companies have committed to hit net zero with no viable pathway to get there. The reason is because the existing solutions revolve around carbon reduction and carbon mitigation as opposed to carbon removal. And that's where Airbuild comes in. We're integrating nature into our cities to enable those governments and companies capture carbon, generate energy, and filter wastewater on site at the incredible low cost of $70 per ton. We've done 3 select case studies of our panel deployments on building facades, rooftops, parking structures, and you can see the amount of carbon that we actively remove from the environment per year. So the question is, how do we do it? We're combining the natural carbon sequestration and water filtration ability of microalgae with the scalability and energy generation ability of solar cells. So our product looks just like a traditional solar panel, but we've created an environment on the inside for algal cultivation. And that creates a synergistic relationship between the solar cells and the algae, because the solar cells absorbs the harmful part of the UV so that the algae doesn't get cooked. And having the bed of water under the PV cells boosts the efficiency, because right now, with traditional solar that we have, the reason why they aren't as efficient is because of energy loss due to heat. And one panel currently generates as much energy as a traditional solar does, captures between 150 to 200 kilograms of carbon per year, while filtering roughly 500 gallons of wastewater. And you can scale this exponentially with having number of panels you want. We've zoned in on our customer profile and validated it through our letters of intent as companies and governments with buildings that have to comply with state and federal environmental rules. Since we're cultivating algae, our customers get to profit from the mandatory carbon market, being that we are a direct air capture solution, as well as the algae biomass market, which is growing at over 5% per year, and to promote the circular economy. Our market is the decarbonization market, currently valued at 1.7 trillion, growing at over 11% per year. And we believe that we can obtain $40 billion worth, being that we're going to be the first to market with a direct air capture solution for the built environment. For our business model, we see ourselves as the OEMs. So we charge a one-time fee for panel sales, monthly subscription for algae harvest and data management. And then we charge a 5% transaction fee for any transaction that takes place in our marketplace, be it the biomass or the carbon credits. We've partnered with 2 labs on the East Coast here in the US, in University of Massachusetts and Bigelow Labs, zoned in on our customer profile and validated them through our letters of intent, have 3 pending pilots here in the US with Sweet Farms in New York, River Spirits in San Diego, and Port of Portland. We've gone through and currently are going through some incredible accelerators, built out our MVP. We're currently at TRL 4, and we plan to go to TRL 7 once we deploy with Sweet Farms and go through that field validation. We've also applied for our first provisional patent around the panel design and have 2 more in the pipeline around harvesting as well as nutrient supply. Our team is relatively stacked. I'm a degreed mechanical engineer with an MBA and a master's in cybersecurity for some reason. I worked as a sales engineer for over 7 years. John is our Chief Sustainability Officer, and Richard is our Chief Science and Technology Officer, who decided I could be the only person with an MBA, so he went to go get one too. PhD holding microbiologist. And we've also built out our core engineering team with Maher and James. We're currently raising $1 million for our pre-seed round. We have $425,000 committed, and we're raising this money to get to TRL 7, which is a completed field validation, as well as complete our Vera offset registration so that our pre-commercialization customers can profit from the carbon offsets from day 1 of their deployment. We've always seen this company grow in phases. Phase 1 has always been to, which is where we are right now, to clean the air in our cities using our solution. Phase 2 is to genetically modify an algae strain for increased carbon capture, as well as biomass generation. We see this as a software update to a hardware solution. Phase 3 is to build out a decentralized gigaton scale facility powered by algae, which shows a viable pathway to reducing the cost of carbon capture to under $50 per ton. Phase 4 is integrating water detoxification into our product for existing beds of water for cities and communities around the world. Thank you.
Thumbs up. Yeah, perfect.
Good timing. Wonderful. I think for the judges, this is your time, but if you don't mind, I will ask a question as well. Okay, Kunpeng have raised the hand, so that's the rule. She's first. Kunpeng, feel free to go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I think I have 2 questions. The first one is that since you also have the harvest part of it, like how do you plan about like execute it? Like would you have another team to do that? And another question is that what's the difference between, since this will get extra, like say carbon capture benefit, right? What's the differences between merging it into say a solar panel versus like actually farming this algae or seaweed elsewhere? Like what's your value proposition there?
Of course. So for your first question, the entire system is autonomous, so it functions by itself. So we don't have to have another team go out there to harvest. We've integrated sensors and automation into these panels to the point where it harvests itself on site without human intervention. And for your second question, instead of deploying this and capturing carbon somewhere else, if you in our cities, you are 92% more likely to breathe in polluted air in an urban area than you are in a rural area. And I grew up in Nigeria, so this is something that we felt, seeing people die from diseases that are pretty much related to air pollution, I pretty much envision, this solution being applicable since it can be embedded into our built environment.
Thank you.
Of course.
Okay, I think Alexander was next. Alexander Bent.
Yeah, sorry about that. David, yeah, it seems really interesting. I think one of the criticisms that solar panels get by a lot of folks building buildings is that they look really ugly, and it's not just a superficial thing. A lot of people talk about how they don't want them on their facades, and it just doesn't look nice. And the other thing, obviously, is the efficiency of energy. So, obviously, if you put it on data centers, it's something like 0. Depending on how big the roof is, a very small amount of energy created. So I understand that you're doing, obviously carbon capture here, but just so I'm clear, is there an energy piece as well for this? Is it double use? And how do you longer term plan to sort of redesign this so it looks a bit better?
Of course. So yes, it is double use. Actually, it's triple because we generate energy, we sequester carbon captured from the environment. We also filter wastewater. So in terms of engineering this design, we envision having different patterns of raceways inside the panel. So it could also be used as an advertisement piece. On the other side of the coin, there are over 4,000 strains of algae, and they all come in different colors. So we can definitely get really creative, with the aesthetic design of this biomimicry product.
Right. And so data centers would be a very interesting focus for you guys, right?
Yes, it is. We actually have a very interesting value prop for data centers, which is combining biomass energy with solar energy. We believe that if we can cultivate enough algae, at that time we can burn that algae in the basement of the building to pretty much generate energy. We believe that we can offset a whole lot more of their energy usage and pretty much make them carbon neutral as opposed to carbon positive that they are right now.
Awesome. Thanks.
Of course.
I think Thomas haven't talked yet. Should we go with you, Thomas? I feel bad for asking people to not talk.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
Thank you. David, cute idea, I must say. 2 questions. Number one is, you have a feeling of the after-sales maintenance service to keep this running. And the second question is, if you scale your business, what is the model? Do you need a local service company, or have you thought about it?
Yes. So for one, the maintenance, we're designing this solution to need the exact same maintenance that your traditional solar does. So pretty much someone to clean the top layer, and that's it. Since the algae cultivates autonomously, and with our patented design with prevented biofilm, it doesn't really need to be cleaned on the inside. That's, part of the patentable, part of this solution. And with regards to your second question about the operations, so for San Diego, we've partnered with ActEnviro because they are a biohazard transporter. So our agreement with them is once we deploy with, say, Amoresco or Breakthrough Properties, the algae is going to be harvested and stored in a tank on site. All they have to do is pick up that tank and deliver it to a company like Marvel Labs that turns algae biomass into kitchen countertops and bioplastics and bioceramics. So as we scale to new cities, all we have to do is find a transporter to pretty much play that role, and that's the only logistics involved in our product. And another thing we can do that we're currently exploring is partnering with companies like WM, because they are more, nationwide as opposed to going city to city to scale.
Thank you.
Of course.
Okay. Thumbs up.
All right. Thank you so much, David. I know you're on the same time zone as me, so you made it. So great. For the other questions, Kunad, Eli, and everyone who have more questions, feel free to contact directly David. He's been pitching 2 times actually during our Climate Tech pitches. The first one was 3 or 4 months ago, and it's great progress. And this is really what we like with this community. across Southeast Asia and across North America and Europe. We really have great people here. Some of them are portfolio of our partners at YC or SOSV or AXE and Climate First, for example. And yeah, so feel free, all the VCs watching, to send your portfolio companies or to send companies that you haven't been investing in yet to our WhatsApp group and to our Climate Tech Coalition. So they get exposure to other VC funds and angel investors in the space. All right, that was the advertising minutes. Now we have Battery Print 3D. This is a super exciting company, actually. So I hope you guys like it because, yeah, I'm really excited about this technology. Are you here, Fanny?
Thank you for your introduction. I'm very happy to be here today. So Battery Print 3D is a young company that develops robot solution for the construction industry, and we want to be a main actor in the environmental transition to make the climate adaptation and make cities more sustainable and greener, but also in the digitalization of the sector of construction and the transformation of its trade. So the context is a net zero by 2050 that represents a big challenge for the building industry. The buildings consume more than 40% of the total final energy. It is responsible. They are responsible of high rates of greenhouse gas emissions, and the energy efficiency of the building is a priority today. There are millions of buildings to be renovated, and if we want to meet the objective of net zero by 2050, we have to double the rate of building renovation by 2030. So the challenge is very big, and the big drawback of the construction industry is a lack of industrialization. The trades remain mainly manual, and in addition, it suffers from a labor shortage for years. So the productivity is low and limited, and we have to develop new solutions, new processes to make the renovation wave a success. So it is why Battery Print 3D has developed an autonomous system called robotics for the external thermal insulation of the buildings using robotics and 3D printing. So here is the robotic arm, which is fixed on a platform that moves on a rail, and this rail can be installed on this kind of mass structure, which are already used by the company for different tasks on the facade. Here we can see a worker on this platform that moves along the mass. So with the same spirit, we move this rail up down along the mast, and the robot can move left right on the rail. So it sprays the insulating material directly on the facade. We have developed a full digital chain from the plan of the building to the execution on site. So off-site, we prepare all the pyramid procedure of the system. We can estimate cost, delay, material ordering, etc. And on-site, the system is piloting with a tablet. So the workers stay on the ground. There are no workers at height, so we are less accidentology, and the system sprays the thickness of material that is recommended for the best efficiency, the best performance of the building. What is new is that the quality and the traceability of the work is totally known, and we provide an execution report at the end of the work site, and we can update the data of the building at the end of the work site. The business model is on three pillars: the robotic sales, the robot system sales, the consumable and the digital services, and the recurrency by training and maintenance. And what we want is that this first system becoming a multitask robotic system and multi-supporting system by the mass, but also different elevator platform like scissor or telescopic ones. And the task will insulating, coating, painting, sandblasting, all we can do on the facade to accelerate the work sites. Actually, we are ongoing funding raising of 3 million euros that is supplemented with 1.2 million euros of non-dilutive financing already awarded by BPI and FEDER funds. And this cash mainly will serve for the structuration of sales and the industrialization of the system. It gives us a cash visibility for 24 months with a low point in 2026. And we are also between seed and Series A, if we can say, because the system is already on work site, and we just beginning the commercialization of the system. Thank you for your attention.
Perfect timing. Thank you so much, Fanny. So now the judges start to understand it, right? Basically, each of the innovations we are seeing today are quite complementary, right? We had AC3D about building the walls, and now we have Fanny about making the insulation material. So basically, by investing into each of these companies you hear today, you make the whole house or the whole commercial building to be as close as possible to net zero. I mean, that's what we are hoping for here. So let's see the questions of our judges. Okay, I will start here first. So I love what you guys do, of course, because isolation is not only energy efficient if it's done well, but it's also very polluting and very labor intensive and done on a very, very traditional manner today. So if you can share with us a little bit about this, like in terms of sustainability, how much sustainable do we get by using your type of polymers and by having this kind of installation potentially at scale? Like what kind of efficiency improvement do we get?
So the polymer is still used for insulation, but with panels in the form of panels. So it is intensive labor, like you just mentioned. You have to drill or fix with glue. But this polymer, when you spray it directly on the facade, is given for 50 or 60 years without any change. So it's diminished. It's reduced. It also reduce waste because you haven't to change this insulation for years. So the sustainability is high with this kind of materials directly projected sprays on facades.
That's amazing. Thank you, Fanny.
And what is also great with this kind of materials is that it's an expanding material. So with few volume at the beginning, you can do lots of volume because it's expanding. So you reduce the transportation to sites, and you also reduce the quantity of material you use on site. So it's also sustainable in this way.
Yeah. Okay, I think Ariel have a question. Ariel, feel free.
If we have time left, so first of all, thank you, Fanny. Super interesting. I was wondering if you can share a little bit more about the competition or alternatives in terms of efficiency and pricing in compared to other solutions.
Yes. I have just a map on this competition. So today the competition is different system for if we just looking robotic solution for material applying, there is 3D printing like Max just before, but also different system for water spraying or paint spraying at the ground or at task at height. And if we just are looking for PU application, there are just two companies, Qbert and Sprayworks. We have systems that just be on the ground and spray the same materials, but they can't go at height and not outdoor also. So we are the only one here in the robotic solution material applying insulating material. And if we just looking different way to insulate to accelerate work site, there are also off-site prefabrication of facades or elements of facade. It's very fast on site, but it's still very expensive. It is not always compatible with the existing building foundations because the height is big and it needs specific transportations. It's very long elements and adapted curing systems to fix these elements on the facade. So I think that this way is the main competition today because the other way is the manual way. So it's not very competitive in terms of production and cost. But this one in terms of production have potential to be a great competitor, but still it's not compatible with all existing building foundations.
Thank you.
Okay, John.
Wonderful. Congratulations, Fanny, on the progress. I think you guys also, developed more pilots since we last talked. So great stuff. Okay. So I think now we have one of my favorites. Oh, sorry, I cannot say that. Startup in Southeast Asia. This is. I'm saying this because I want to see more of this type of company in Southeast Asia. We don't have enough climate tech companies in the built environment in that part of the world. We have a lot of innovation in Europe in that sector. We have a lot of innovation in the US, but in Southeast Asia, it's not as many. But we know all of them personally. And so we've mapped out 118 of them over the past year. And Luis here as the best of the both worlds, having teamed up with an Indonesian co-founder who graduated from Ivy League University, I think it's Stanford, and he's bringing that American vibe as well to the team. So Luis, can you hear us? And whenever you are ready.
Yeah, loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, great. Let me share my slides here. Go into presentation mode. How's that? Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Ignore the incorrect month in the bottom right corner. I'm Louis. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Recool It, where we are empowering sustainable cooling. What that means specifically is that we sell high integrity, high quality carbon credits from the destruction of refrigerant gas. This is a massive climate problem, and we're solving it with a business model that's sustainable, great margins, and it's highly scalable. My personal story, I'm American. I moved to Indonesia 3 years ago to solve refrigerants, which is what Project Drawdown rated as the #1 climate opportunity on the planet. And the backdrop to all this is air conditioning use and refrigeration, broadly speaking. All kinds of cooling are growing massively, especially in emerging markets, projected to 3x by 2050. And all of these devices today contain refrigerant gas. These are particular chemicals that are 2,000 times worse than CO2 and account for 3 billion tons CO2 equivalent of emissions per year, 6% of all global emissions. On the other side of things, the market for carbon credits is taking off, projected to grow really fast over the next 10 to 30 years. There are really two tailwinds here. The first is in the voluntary market, where businesses are facing pressure from various stakeholders to go carbon neutral and net zero. And the second is that governments around the world are putting carbon trading into practice. There are a lot of details around carbon markets that will be changing and fleshed out over the next 30 years. But the bottom line, and obviously these estimates are span an order of magnitude or two, but the bottom line is that this is a fast-growing market that we're planning to sell into. The problem with all of that projected growth in carbon credits is that most carbon credits today are just not very good. And they're being increasingly criticized, increasingly being driven out of the market. Buyers don't want these risks, these accusations of greenwashing. And where there are small pockets of high integrity credits, they're typically there's not a lot of supply, and they tend to sell at very high prices. So we bring those two things together with a very simple model where we partner with HVAC technicians. So anyone who's working on an air conditioner, this could be in-house for a building conglomerate, for a multinational company. It could be a third-party contractor. They collect used refrigerant that would otherwise be emitted to the atmosphere. We incinerate it, which permanently prevents any climate impact. We track all of this on our in-house software platform, use the data to generate and sell those carbon credits from the prevented emissions. The gas would have been emitted, instead it's not. And that data is shown directly to carbon buyers, which adds to the integrity and the transparency of our credits. So from the technician's perspective, they get paid to do the right thing. Before they were just letting the gas out, and instead they have access to tools, training, and actually financial incentives for turning in this waste gas that would otherwise be emitted. The destruction technology is proven, zero emissions, totally permanent, so kind of best in class when it comes to carbon credit permanence questions. And that's through a third-party facility, not one that we own or operate. And from the carbon buyer perspective, because all of this data is being collected on a convenient app in the field every step of the way, our buyers can see really exactly what's happened. And that's what demonstrates the additionality and the transparency, makes our credits be able to command a relatively high price, and makes our buyers safe and secure in their purchases from any kind of greenwashing accusations or eventual credit reversals. We've been doing this in Indonesia for about 3 years. We've proven it end to end every step of the way. So collected a bunch of gas, kind of a logistics network to handle the equipment loan out and the gas return. We've destroyed a bunch of gas in this facility already. We've already done about $200,000 in carbon credit sales so far, although that's still early. We've done this with a variety of local and global partners, so some international AC manufacturers, various building owners and real estate groups within Indonesia, from hotels, shopping malls, all kind of commercial real estate. We're now actually getting into data centers and cold chain as well. That's an exciting opportunity. And our carbon credits are listed on platforms in the US and Europe, which is where most of our buyers are. Both my co-founder and I have worked in Silicon Valley, myself doing data and machine learning at small startups. My co-founder Ning has worked on forest carbon projects, worked at Apple on the iPhone, and has a hardware mechanical engineering background, started a few companies in the past. We're advised by some great software and refrigerant folks, and we have a team mostly based in Indonesia. One kind of additional area that's exciting for us, although it's still a little early, is taking our kind of battle-tested software and developing as well a SaaS product for large buildings, anyone with a lot of refrigeration, grocery stores, data centers, office buildings, to handle refrigerant reporting and compliance. So both for your own emissions reporting, as well as in the US and Europe, there's a lot of regulation around what you have to track and report on your refrigerant use, fugitive emissions. This can be a big part of a building's emissions profile, and it's not well tracked today. So we're not raising at the moment. We are planning to open a seed round in August after we hit a few more commercial milestones. This will be a massive market opportunity. We have a proven model. We're already at zero burn. We're looking to grow aggressively. And really, for us, it's all about this climate impact that we're expected to have over the next couple of years. So we're looking for investors that are really mission aligned on that and able to provide strategic support for our scale up, as well as just writing a check. So thanks everyone for your time. We're Recool It. We're going to prevent 1 billion tons of CO2 equivalent emissions by 2050. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Luis. And now for the judges' questions. Okay, here we go. We have Kun Peng here, Kun Nut. Okay, how about we start with Kun Nut, because she didn't speak last time. Here we go.
Hi, thank you. Just wonder, how do you dispose the collected refrigerant This is the first question. And the second question is that nowadays there are many standards of carbon credits. How do you plan to do the scale up or mass commercialize with this business model?
Great questions. So for destruction, there are actually several different approved technologies through the UN's Montreal Protocol for refrigerant destruction. What we're doing for our first partner facility is co-processing in a cement kiln, so just thermal incineration. And that facility has to pass a certain emissions test for when, with the gas in it to make sure that we're hitting destruction efficiency, destroying enough of that gas. Your second question around carbon credit standards. So yeah, so right now we're selling only on the voluntary market, which means that actually we kind of have a choice of which registries to use. What we're doing is not yet covered by any existing methodology. We have our methodology that was written for us by a think tank out of Yale University. It's actually under review on one registry right now, and it's in a public comment period on one registry and in private review on another. So we expect to be on a major registry within the next 3 to 4 months. That's one of the items that we're hoping to hit before we fundraise. And then there are also compliance markets coming in different parts of the world. So Indonesia is setting one up. Thailand, where we're looking, we have kind of a different approach that we're trying to take with more of like an Article 6 approach. So yeah, as I said, carbon credit market is evolving, lots of different ways to sell credits, but underlying it all is demand for high integrity credits, which we will be able to meet.
Wonderful. I think Kun Pang is next.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. Can you talk a bit about like the unit economics? Like, how does it work?
The unit economics? Yeah, sure. And hi, Pang, nice to see a friendly, familiar face. So yeah, that's actually, I think, one of our strengths. People hear our model and, there's a lot of physical components to it and they worry about that. We've actually got great margins even now at a relatively small scale where we have a higher relative overhead than we will have as we scale. So basically our business model is all the revenue comes from carbon credits and our costs break down to paying the technician a per kilogram buyback price for the gas, paying the destruction facility, and paying for the transportation of the gas from A to B, as well as some of the equipment that we lend out, although that's not really a unit cost because that's sort of amortized over a longer span. The amount that we pay to the technician is capped actually, because if it's too high, the technicians will be incentivized to go buy gas and defraud us. So that's actually capped. The destruction is really a competitive, set of vendors. We can play off each other. And transportation again is kind of a commodity. So our costs have been looking good so far, and our credits sell at a relatively high price. We could even probably cut our average credit price in half and still be profitable. So there's a long way to go as we explore that.
Good to hear. Thank you.
Yep.
Wonderful. I think we have Eli next.
Super. So first of all, thanks for the presentation. I'm wondering, you mentioned, trustworthy carbon credits. My experience with working with technicians is that sometimes, there are things that are, there's a trust issue, especially if you're addressing specific kind of technician to business. So how do you view, what is your experience working with technicians and the trust level that you have working with them, and how that is, resonates in the carbon platforms that you use in terms of traction?
Yeah, so it's actually interesting. The underlying methodology that we use really does not require that we trust the technicians particularly. It's more about the kind of scientific integrity of the destruction process and proving that the common practice is to vent this gas. Everything we do beyond that is like above and beyond and contributes to price, but not the underlying scientific validity. And really, this was a concern of ours when we started out. And what we found is, we've taken a very high touch approach early on just to make sure we understand those dynamics. And what we found is really that there's a lot more kind of issues with data collection that come out of like being rushed on the job site or forgetting. Then we haven't really encountered a single case of fraud that that we've spotted in what, again, a very high touch environment. So we'll have to see how that goes as we scale. But I think our unit economics still support a pretty, especially in the countries where we're planning to operate, where labor is relatively cheap, like a relatively high touch approach where we're actually maybe not taking all that much for granted. We're reviewing every photo that's submitted manually. We can collect, as we get more sophisticated, increasing amounts of data just from the app itself. So yeah, that's not really an issue that we've come across.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Again, for further questions, feel free to email directly Luis, or if you are on our coalition WhatsApp group, which you should be in. If you're not, you join now. You can talk to him directly. Without further ado, let's move on to Antonio from Hong Kong, and he's doing a great company on cement decarbonization called formwork.io. Are you here, Antonio? All right. While he's setting up, I just wanted to say that I was visiting in San Francisco the Museum of Science, and Antonio was one of the architects who helped design it and make sure that he was completely as close as possible to 100% sustainable. And he's done something very incredible. If you haven't seen that Museum of Science, you should Google it because it's quite impressive. And yeah. Antonio is now doing his own venture, and that's where I really trust people, coming from the industry. I wish I have worked as an architect myself, but I've only done an internship when I was probably like 15 years old. so I have a lot of respect for those people who work in that space and who now jump in to innovate in it, to disrupt it. So Antonio, this is your time.
Oh, thank you. I couldn't have asked for a better intro. I'm Antonio Ng, co-founder and CEO of Formwork.io. So at Formwork.io, we are working towards a new building materials ecosystem, all circular and carbon negative. And today, with commercial real estate accounting for nearly 40% of the global CO2 emissions, there's no easy way for the sector to reduce its carbon footprint. And yet, we're not slowing down, especially in Asia Pacific, building the equivalent of 1.5 New York City every month until 2060. Now, up to 90% of those emissions from real estate development fall within Scope 3, which include materials and construction. So what if we can reverse the correlation between urbanization and carbon emissions? And what if we can upcycle greenhouse gas that would have otherwise made its way into the atmosphere and storing it in our buildings, coastlines, and cities permanently? Remember how we are constructing 1.5 New York City every month in Asia Pacific? Well, to do that, the demand for materials for flooring and paving alone will equal to 160 million square meters. That's the size of 21,000 football pitches every month. Now, most green building products on the market today fall into 3 broad categories. Majority simply have a high percentage of recycled content. Some emit less carbon, and very, very few actually remove carbon. We have combined all 3 into one, while adding biopigments and ultra-low energy biocarbon. Now, with this approach, we have arrived at our first product, the circular carbon brick. It's circular by design, upcycling both industrial and consumer waste. It reduces and removes carbon dioxide, removing more carbon than it produces. And with 5 color offerings, we are focusing on biopigments such as indigo, algae, and used coffee grounds. And last but not least, they are all performance code compliant. Now, paving brick is only the beginning for us. Our first application, we aim to build out an ecosystem of building products for both exterior and interior application. Now, with a product roadmap initially focused on precast building products, we aim to move towards prefab modular construction segment by co-creating bigger structural elements with carbon removal capability. Now, since our early breakthrough via CO2 curing, we have further developed multiple different approaches towards carbon negative, such as biocarbonization and direct air capture, allowing us to adapt our process to suit different applications and market fit. So as Joan kindly mentioned, before I became an entrepreneur, I was actually a design architect. I specialize in green buildings. I practice across North America, Europe, and Asia. And after more than 20 years of practice in search of a bigger impact, I decided to change course by founding Formwork.io. And our chief engineer, Gory, bottom right, has over 10 years experience as material science researcher and chemist. Professor Leung on the bottom left is an important collaborator who is an expert in upcycling waste into hydrochar. For now, we're focusing on the precast non-structural segment to begin with, and we eventually move on to prefab modular and construction segment by licensing our technology. And while we've been busy refining our production model and delivering pilot projects, we have also initiated a second stage R&D to further simplify our tech and our process, to lower our costs, and to build our IP portfolio. And we couldn't have done all this without our collaborators and supporters. Now, some companies talk about utilizing a carbon negative ingredient. Others talk about a carbon negative process, but we produce the first circular carbon negative finished product. And with our business model, we're focusing 4 future revenue streams, starting with our core building products. This year, next year, we aim to tap into customization as an add-on premium. Then we plan to leverage our carbon credits either as a bundle option or revenue share to further drive adoption. And lastly, we'll pursue technology licensing to further scale up 2027, 2028, and beyond. And so far, we have been generating interest from real estate conglomerates, from academia and government in terms of pilot projects and collaborations. And we're seeking a 1 million to mainly build our production capacity, scale up our team. This will provide us with a runway of 18 months to supporting our customers to save carbon as they build. Thank you.
Wonderful. Amazing. Thank you so much, Antonio. And we already have questions from GLL. So Elk, to go ahead.
Yeah, hey, I think it's a great product, and obviously there's a lot of carbon going into fit out of space, is what we're seeing. I wonder, why do you want to sell credits and not just provide low carbon products?
Oh, we're doing both. Maybe I didn't sort of make it clear. It's sort of part of adding on to it as sort of we go
double
4
counting, right?
stages.
So you're double counting, so be careful with that. So I think what we see, I mean, that is something to consider. Like when you're providing a low carbon product, and that in itself is enough for the clients, and that's a benefit for the end consumer.
Right. Hear you.
All right. Thomas, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, thank you. Interesting idea. 2 questions. If you compare your product's quality price with traditional products, how do they compare? And the second thing is, who will make the decisions using your products later in the scale up?
First question, quality, we can match or exceed quality of, if we're talking about, let's just say, brick, we can match and exceed in terms of quality or performance. Our price, obviously, we're still higher, but as we scale up, I projected we'll be within 3 to 5% premium. But that is obviously that we scale up. So scaling up is absolutely crucial for us to scale. Then the second question is the decision makers. So obviously we are small. We're probably knocking door to door. We're talking to private real estate conglomerates. We are talking to part of the government, academia, university have shown a lot of interest doing demonstrations. But I think going in the future that the existing building stock actually has a lot of potential. So to decarbonize, especially embodied carbon scope 3, on any existing building, we cannot change any of the foundation. So what we can change is what we are clad on top of the building and inside of the building, all the different surfaces. And that's where sort of basic elements like tiles, like panels, bricks, blocks form would come into very, very handy. And what we're looking to do is delivering these not back of house, hidden between walls. These are going to be exposed. They're going to have texture. They're going to have color. They're going to be biopigmented.
Awesome. Chris?
Yes. I would like to know if you have already issued or calculated environmental product data sheet, which is a key aspect to use your solution.
The calculated, sorry?
Environmental product data sheet. I mean the CO2 footprint of the product.
Yes, we spend more than a year building up our own database, and we work with the university throughout to track the life cycle carbon from cradle to gate. So we have done extensive LCA work to making sure we get to this point. But obviously now that we're going to production, then obviously all that would have to keep sort of updating, revising. And so we are constantly learning along the way. And now that we're sort of in that production mode and delivering projects and seeing sort of the real life. And we are obviously making tweaks and adjustments as we go forth.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Okay, so Antonio, you do that data sheets and then you come back to Chris. So he invests, and if he invests, I also invest, and probably Alexander will also write a small check. So we get this round out. Okay. All right, guys. Power Up Energy is next with Ivar. Ivar, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Hi.
Awesome. Welcome, Ivar. And whenever you're ready.
Yeah, let me share the screen. So hopefully you see it. So yeah, my name is Ivar Krusenberg. I'm CEO and founder of Power Up Energy Technologies. And when we founded the company back in the days in Berkeley, US, then we wanted to really solve one of the biggest issues of the mankind, which we found to be the energy resiliency. So the massive electrification, which we have, an outdated grid, which we have everywhere around the globe as well. This is match made in heaven for the blackouts. And we really need to find a solution for that. And there's obviously the batteries, but the batteries are way too heavy when especially we're talking about the portability. They also take a lot of space. So if the space is the main constraint, which it is for the telecommunication towers, for example, then the batteries will not do when you need a big energy capacity. And also batteries, obviously, they have the lifetime issue. They become quite pricey when you need a lot of capacity. And it has been also quite lately that there's a new regulations which do not allow to install big battery packs to the cities because of the safety constraint. And that's why we at Power Up, we have developed hydrogen fuel cell and battery-based hybrid solution, which allows our customers to get more energy out of cheaper and smaller system for longer. And what does it really complement the batteries with? First of all, it increases the lifetime of the battery packs, often twice, because customers do not have to care about the capacity of the battery, losing that 20 or 30%. Also, we significantly lower the initial capex investment for the customers by hybridization. And most importantly, obviously, we're increasing the safety of the whole solution so that these can be installed anywhere, to the shopping malls, rooftops of the apartment buildings, and so on, so on. And on top of that, to many of the customers and investors, it's important to see the carbon footprint, and we are capable of reducing the carbon footprint significantly in comparison to the lithium-ion batteries only, not even talking about the diesel generators. And we have been working on this technology since 2016, and today we are already selling our units. We have 3 modular solutions, 400 watt WAP 1K, and also the 3 kilowatt solution. Plus also we have been lately launching the big trailerized solution, which can be used also even for the charging of the electric vehicles. And as I said, we're already selling. We have been delivering our units to the telecommunication industry. We're collaborating with the Scandinavian biggest telcos, and also obviously medical and pharma, defense industry, but most importantly, our biggest market today is the construction industry, which is also looking for the decarbonization. And we are utilizing B2B business model for that. We have been building during the last year intensively our distribution network, and we have 15 distributors around the globe. And obviously the market opportunity for our solution is enormous. we are not competing with the batteries, but we are complementing the shortcomings of the battery technology. So this means that the total addressable market could be even more than 200 billion. And obviously, we're not alone on the market. There is the competitors, but we are much more efficient. We are also smaller. We are cheaper. And our lifetime of the product is significantly longer. And the market has been really taking off. And the proof of that is one of our main competitors who made 120 million in revenue and more than 5 million of profit last year. And how can we make it? Because of our code, first of all. We are hardware-enabled software. And also our fuel cell technology, which has been developed together with the European Space Agency. Our tech is going to the cargo ships and the rovers. And we can make it because of our really unique team. Super international. Team is our biggest asset. The guys are from Puerto Rico to India. And we have also really great advisory team. Some even former vice presidents of Apple and so on and so on. And we're utilizing really lean business model. We're like Apple. We do not hold the big manufacturing site ourselves. This is outsourced. And also we do not hold them the working cap. And we are raising 7 million euros today. And this is particularly going to really boost the sales and marketing and conquer the world. So thank you from my end. I'm happy to answer any of the questions.
Thank you so much, Ivar. I'm impressed on this technology. Really, you guys have. I just saw have got military usage as well. So all right, Nat, feel free.
Yes, I have two questions. In this way, I mean, combining fuel cell together with battery, we will have some energy losses challenges. This is the first question, and the second question is that what is the economic benefit for customer? So there are two challenges. First one is technical, and the second one is the economics for customer side. How do you overcome these two challenges?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, first of all, as I mentioned, we have been working particularly on the software side. So to hybridize the batteries and fuel cells. So that has been the biggest challenge. First of all, to make the hydrogen fuel cell to work as electric generator, and then to really hybridize it in the sense that there's the energy management, which is detecting the state of the battery, the life also span of the battery, and able to jump in the hydrogen fuel cell when there's a bigger blackout and the battery needs to be complemented, plus also to utilize the battery just often as a peak shaver. So that has been a huge challenge. And from the customer point of view, for them, the most important, one of the most important aspects is the IoT system. So they want to monitor everything, their energy usage, the state of both the fuel cells, the hydrogen availability, and the batteries. So that's what we have been working really heavily. And the advantage is that it does not need any maintenance. And also this leads us that the OPEX cost is so much lower. And also they don't need to change the batteries so often as they would need otherwise for losing some of the capacity. So they save a lot of money also from that end. Plus, there's many other advantages where we can help from both the CapEx and OpEx investment-wise.
Sorry, just to be precise. So your target market is the places where there are opportunities or there are chances of the blackout, right? If there are places that they have several backup power grid, so this is not your target market.
To be honest, as funny as it may sound, one of our biggest markets today is in Netherlands, and they have a nice grid distribution. But the issue is that the grid is so limited in the capacity that the new customers cannot be connected as fast as needed, and construction sites especially. So today, the first of all, the offices are powered with our solutions. They also charge even the batteries of the tools. Also, for example, Instagrid construction batteries, they charge from our units because the grid connection is not available yet. So they are listed, and it takes often a year until they get connected to the grid.
All right, thank you.
All right, and then I think Eli have a question?
Yeah. So my question is about your customers. So I understand you're selling to the end customers. So, but do you have any collaborations or partnerships with the battery producers? So you're selling this with the battery suppliers?
So we are actually not directly often, or let's state it in this way, we prefer to not interact directly to the end customer. So there's the distributors between and other partners. With that, we definitely are able to hold our costs for the sales team under the control. But for the batteries, you're absolutely right. We do not have today a battery partner. So often customers already have their own batteries, which we are helping to solve out the issues they have. Or then we just provide them the batteries from the market off the shelf. So we're looking for the battery partner right now. So if you have any battery companies in mind, would be really thankful if you can connect us, even though the Chinese are right now subsidizing the batteries so heavily that it's hard to find any battery company right now from Europe who's competitive.
All right, thanks.
Actually, in fact, one of our portfolio company is in that space. So yeah, we can chat afterwards. Maybe we connect you guys both.
That would be really great. Thank you so much for that.
Congratulations on traction, Ivar. We like businesses that are actually selling already, making money. So yeah, it's great to see that. Okay, I think now is the time for quota from Estonia. So Ryan, Vanna, are you around?
Yes, I'm here. So great to meet you all, and thank you for this great opportunity.
You're welcome.
Hopefully by the end of my presentation, we all agree that quota is doing something that is very needed. At least this is something that White House has recently announced, and that going circular is the only way to actually achieve climate neutrality. And since Quota's mission from day one, 3 years back when we started, is to accelerate material reuse, so we can finally see that White House, Ellen MacArthur Foundation, many states institutions, they all now finally start to understand that we need to reuse our resources. Otherwise, the mission to become climate neutral is impossible to achieve. Why is that? Why is it so critical to be reusing your resources? It's the simple data. Globally, we produce more than 100 billion tons of materials, and only 7.2%. Some calculations say 8%, but they all say less than 10% of materials are ever recycled back as a resource. So everything else is considered waste. In a good case, maybe fuel. But we need to change that. And Quota's mission, let me remind you, is to accelerate material reuse. CO2 emission savings out of that, it's just a bonus that we will achieve when we are very careful with our resources for the future generations. So simple mathematics say that accelerating material reuse will actually deliver rapid and tangible impact for carbon emission savings, and we need to act now. So Quota has created a platform. It's really robust, fraud-resistant way on monetizing global material producers' efforts to use more recycled materials. Whenever you use 1 ton of more recycled materials, for example, in plastic industries in Europe, you could actually save at least 1 ton of CO2 emissions in a life cycle. So this 1 ton of savings can now be monetized thanks to Quota in a really transparent way. Where the money is coming, of course, the money is coming from voluntary carbon markets. There are many companies out there already today willing to pay for the effort of the others. Use the effort of material producers to help to reduce global emissions. We work with car rental companies, fleet management companies, and we work with taxi companies, we work with transport companies, event management companies, and so forth. By the end of the year, we have sold more than 500 million euros worth of credits that are covered with contracts right now as we speak. How the business works. So what's in it for the material producers, and why it's so important that they are on board? It has to be a business case. So enough about voluntary work, enough about saying that we have to do it anyhow, it's everybody's thing to do. It has to be part of your business. When going sustainable, when going fully circular, you have to benefit from it. Not on the benefit of environment, but on the benefit for all of us. It has to be part of the business for the good of the environment. So every time quota sells 1 ton of CO2 emissions on the market, material producers will get 80% of the funds back. This 80% is equal usually with the paper industries, plastic industries, and textile industries we work with. It's equal to at least 10% of their material purchasing price. So it's significant increase to the profitability or investment capability. So it's somebody asked already before, so what is out there, what type of standards, how you verify that this all is real? So quota is backed by quota standard, which is audited by KPMG. And of course, we will apply for another layer on top of that. Many of you have heard the CCP verification methodology is just out, and Verras and gold standards of the world will also apply to this. Core carbon principle verification will be also part of quotas standardization process in the near future. We are already available in 16 countries, and by the end of the year, it will be 20 countries and counting. By the end of the year, we have saved more than 100,000 tons of CO2 emissions, and by the end of next year, it will be more than 400,000. We are reporting already this year more than 1 million tons of recycled materials really moved back to recycling. So this is really huge step forward. Our North Star is to enable 1 billion tons of additional recycling by 2030. This is the North Star. Thank you.
This is great. Thank you so much, Rain. So now you guys really realize it. Like, we are trying really to close the loop during this call, from the walls to the isolation, and now to the materials recycling and waste management. As of today, we have early stage companies. Some of them are a little bit more advanced than others, but don't forget that we have more than 30 plus other participants, among which 25 are Series A and Series B companies as well. So today you see maybe a little bit of the early stage companies, but we do also have semi-finalists listed on the website very soon, as soon as next week actually, that are late stage as well. So for your corporate investment team, really, once we get that website out, please have a look and give us some feedback. Okay, now we have questions, a lot of them. So I think we can start with Ariel.
Hi, Rain. Thank you so much for the presentation. It was super interesting. I wanted to make sure I understood. You mentioned you already sold 500 million euros worth of credits.
Did I say million? Then I'm dreaming. It's 500,000, 500.
500,000. Okay. And
500 million will be 2030.
Okay. And can you share a little bit more about the channels?
Yes.
Of selling the credits?
Yes. There is 4 main channels. The first one is everything to do with mileage. We sell our credits to all different transport companies. We sell it to, like I said, fleet management companies. So it's per mile type of a service. Really small price per mile, but it adds up as a significant income for the material producers. Then it's all to do with the people gathering. So we're doing conferencing, sporting events, so all major events where you can actually buy this as part of a ticketing experience. For example, we are partnering up this year already with 2 events with World Rally Championship, again, they can compensate their carbon footprint. They can't call themselves zero emission event because of us, but they can show how they have compensated part of their footprint. And then the third one, of course, is e-commerce. We are joining up with different companies, taxi companies, for example, included, but also biggest sporting retail just signed up with us here in the Baltic states. And the fourth one is the newest one. We have signed, not signed, we are signing a couple of contracts, I'm hoping in 30 days, with investors who are actually ready to invest into carbon credits. So 4 different channels, a little bit different pricing for all of these, but similarity is that they all pay a lot of money to the material producers.
Amazing, thanks.
All right, Elke.
Hey, really wonderful presentation, thank you. On the material producers side, one, how do you get them on board, and why would they say no to this?
Why would they say no? It's quite common, actually. Nobody actually likes full transparency. It's really difficult when the third party comes in and starts to measure your real recycling efforts. So you have to be like, what we measure is not only what they say, we also go back in the supply chain and we ask, please reveal us, where did you get the recycled material? Who was transporting? So do you have any transport documents to prove it? Certificates, state reports. So all this, a little bit of additional work, but on top of it, of course, they will get extra payment for that. So that's the other side. And how we get them on board, of course, we promise to pay them out for the efforts. For every ton, we promise them a certain amount of cash. And what was interesting when we came to the market, so we tried to offer this platform for free to the producers, but then it didn't work. They didn't believe that this is a real business case. So now we actually charge the companies that joined the platform with a quite significant startup fee. And they are very, very happy to pay this because now they understand that we are serious about it.
Great, thank you.
All right, I think we have questions from Alexander here as well.
Hey, yeah, thanks a lot for the presentation. One of the biggest problems in shopping malls is tenants and the circularity or the fit out of stores. They account for actually more than the overall shell of the shopping mall. The fit out of stores is massive. So, a lot of developers are figuring out, how do we incentivize our tenants to basically reuse materials, adopt a more circular approach, reduce their own carbon footprints. Would this work in that sense? Would you have developers as potentially some of your clients, or even those tenants, for example?
Yes, I'm pretty sure it will work, because you can imagine if Quota is able to map out the first part of the life cycle of the product, or the last part, sorry, becoming the waste and becoming the product again. So this part. So the next level for us would be to track the product back to the recycling, because if the producers will start to get paid, the value of recycled materials will go up, and therefore you are able to put up producer responsibility schemes or deposit schemes for specific products from Unilever, for example, like, hey, this plastic bottle is now also under the deposit system, and you don't have to wait state regulations anymore, because the materials sort of are more valuable thanks to that.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah, and I can already see this popping up in some countries where sort of the big producers actually ask back the materials from the vendors.
I have a question. So one of the big elements that we looked at recently was waste to energy, right? So the big problem is plastic, and the unit economics for plastic recyclings are not working all the time. So we looked at waste for energy. Do you have vendors or suppliers or partners in that space, or not? This is my question.
Yes, that's a great question. My background is from recycling. I used to work for more than 10 years for a Swedish recycling company called Ravensels. That was part of their group management as well. We handled more than 6 million tons of waste every year, and the big part of it ended up in the incineration. So I understand it's necessary to do this, but I'm not myself personally not a big fan of incinerating stuff. So Quota is not in partnership with any incineration companies or waste to energy companies. We are driving the actual reuse of materials. So for us, the ultimate goal is that the bottle released by Henkel or Unilever will stay the same bottle throughout many life cycles.
Yeah, that's a great model as well. And hopefully we'll see more of these happening with great unit economics. So good luck, guys.
Yeah, and just to comment this, sorry, I see when we are working in many countries with plastic and paper producers and now also textile producers, I see more and more plastic producers talking about they are actually taking back their containers, washing them and sending back, and sort of the renting schemes are out there as well for the future. And I'm really big fan of renting stuff out.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And not to talk badly about anyone, but just recently we've seen Fulcrum, Bioenergy, and Ener came. So both waste to energy big companies, around $1 billion of investment to be closing down. So yeah, it seems like the tailwinds are towards the elements you brought here. So yeah, aligned. Great, thank you so much, Ryan. I love the energy, and yeah, we look to have more companies working with you. So please join the coalition, and let's get you guys some help here.
Thank you.
I think we have Nathan from Vector Homes. Are you here, Nathan?
I'm here. How are you doing?
Very good, very good, very good. This is your turn, finally. Okay, whenever you're ready, Nathan.
I've just set up. Don't know, can anyone see this?
Shopper is going to put you up in a minute.
Okay.
Here you go.
I think we're good to go. So firstly, I would just like to say a huge thank you for having us here today. We really appreciate the work you're doing, Joanne, and the opportunity to pitch to you all. Also, a quick apology, my webcam unceremoniously stopped working last week, but I can assure you all that I am a real person and not some form of AI bot, and it should be fixed by any follow-up meeting. So to get started, Vector is a quasi-group company based in the Graphene at Manchester ecosystem in the United Kingdom. The group is on a collective mission to enhance efficiency in the built environment in terms of reducing complexity, cost and carbon in construction. So the construction sector is broken. I'm going to give some UK specific examples here, but it is important to note that these problems are global. So the UK government has a 300,000 unit house building target per year, but for the last 4 decades, we have been hitting less than 50% of this demand. This has resulted in a backlog of just over 4.3 million houses in the UK. And last year, more people became homeless than were first-time buyers for the first time ever. So this is a really acute issue here. On top of this, the construction sector is having a terrible effect on the environment, contributing circa 40% of greenhouse gas emissions. And in the UK, according to DEFRA, 60% of waste. And when you consider the fact that these statistics are just when we're hitting 50% of the demand, the future is very concerning in this place. But Vector is here to fix it. So currently, the construction market is very polarized between large-scale house builders that build for themselves and small-scale contractors that primarily build for asset owners and developers. And if we want to start hitting targets in terms of city building, we need to enable the small-scale contractors to really scale up. Now, this schematic is actually a hugely simplified map of the construction process. In reality, there are hundreds of layers involved, with many specialities involved as well. And all of these stages add layers of cost and risk to the building process. Now, the reason that the large-scale house builders have been able to scale to the size that they are is down to a single but very boring word, but very powerful word, which is standardization. Now, they have standardized house types, which streamlines their house building process significantly. Vector Homes is bringing the power of standardization to the masses. We operate an Uber-esque business model in which we act as the BD pipeline for small-scale contractors to build out our standardized system. We also provide the infrastructure in terms of the back office support, in terms of the collateral and the ongoing architectural support during the build process. Now, our process removes layers of risk and cost, and unlike the conventional large-scale house builders, our standardized systems have been optimized for sustainability by embracing the mantras of reduce and reuse and recycle into the design of our system. Now, Vector operates 3 different revenue verticals, namely Vector Homes, Vector Labs, and Vector Digital. All of these are focused on enhancing efficiency in different but correlated ways. Now, Vector Homes operates an Uber-esque business model, as I just mentioned before, to rapidly build sustainable and affordable houses. We recently built our prototype house in the globally unique Energy House 2. Now, this facility is essentially 2 huge climate chambers, each capable of housing 2 full-sized houses. Each chamber is capable of housing 2 full-sized houses. The temperatures in these chambers can be varied from -20 degrees to 40 degrees. They have wind machines, rain machines, snow machines, solar rigs, etc. We are currently testing a range of technologies on our houses, including heat pumps, smart ventilation systems, etc., to be able to make genuine recommendations for add-on sales to our houses. We currently have a £50 million pipeline, and we're expecting about 18 million to convert over the next 18 months. The next part of the group is Vector Labs, which is our highly specialist research and development arm that is developing a product portfolio of super high impact material and systems for the built environment, aimed at reducing embodied and operational carbon. We have a phenomenal team of some of the best nanomaterial scientists in the world. This element of the group is already profit making and working with some of the largest companies in the world in the built environment space. And finally, we have the baby of the group, which is Vector Digital. We have identified a number of high-value innovations that we are going to produce to augment efficiency in the value chain. We have projects and partners scoped out, and this will be leveraging some of the machine learning expertise we have in the team. So just doing a bit more of a deep dive into Vector Labs, our scientists are doing some pretty incredible things in the nanomaterial space. All of the work we do is in collaboration with large-scale conglomerates that are already in a position to spin out the technologies into the market very quickly. These include companies from across the world, including France, Israel, India, etc. Due to the time constraints, I'm not going to go into too much detail and just highlight a few of my personal favorites. So some high-level developments include our patented nanomaterial enhanced formulations for recycled plastics, which can be used in cladding and insulation materials. These formulations enhance the fire retardancy and the mechanical properties to enable recycled plastics to be used in a range of applications in the construction sector. We've also developed local printed electronic heat flux sensors that are already more sensitive than the commercially available competitors. This is to enable asset owners to really understand the performance of their stock so they can make informed decisions on retrofitting in the future. And one of my absolute favorites is our developments in producing solid external wall insulation panels using sheep's wool. So this development uses an entirely green chemistry process and entirely uses sheep's wool. So there's no artificial additives like polymers in there. So this product is fully circular. Okay, perfect. Well, on to the last slide. So we're currently raising our second round of £2 million or $2.5 million to build up our team and operations and execute on our scale-up strategy. We are currently talking to a range of VC funds and CVC funds, and we'll welcome a call with you all to dive deeper into our verticals and see how you can get involved in the round. Thank you very much.
This is great. I love the infographics. Thank you so much, Nathan. Okay, opening for the judges to ask some questions. And we have Eli here, also based in the UK. Eli, feel free to fire it up.
Yeah, hi, Nathan. Nathan, thanks for the presentation. I'm just curious, how many are you on the team at the moment?
So I've got a bunch of secret slides, so I'll just quickly nip over to the team slide, which was here. I think I've deleted it. Here you go. So the team, so we've got 7 core members. There's Dr. Liam Britnell. He did his PhD with one of the Nobel Prize winners that discovered graphene. and has been involved with in the nanomaterials space basically since its inception. As myself, who's the CEO, I'm also a nanomaterials engineer, and I was the international business developer for the European Union's graphene flagship. We have Jonas Singer, who is an incredibly talented strategy consultant, who is our COO and manages all things operations. We have a strategic investor in NED in the name of David Searle. So they've got an amazing business in the social housing space. He has personally invested over 650 million into the UK social housing over the last 6 years. And we've got a commercial arrangement that's about to go through with them to supply them with their housing stock via our system. And we've got an amazing group of employees. Look, I'm a nanomaterials scientist, but ever since we hired these guys, I don't even consider myself a scientist anymore because they are exceptional. So we have Vince, who is a machine learning expert in the materials engineering space. Dr. Xiaomeng Zhang, who is phenomenal and has been the driving force behind the sheep's wool and the heat flux sensors. And we've got Tiago, who's our head of business development, is a REBA registered architect and is pushing all the pipeline through at the moment.
So I think my question is, you mentioned the three units, right? The Vector Homes, Vector Labs, and Digital.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a lot to cover, right? For a small company. So what's your go-to-market? I mean, what is your main focus in terms of, you know, pushing commercial sales development? Is it the labs? Is it the Vector Homes? What is the team focused about the most?
Sure. So the team is sort of operating across both verticals at the moment. As I said, Vector Digital is very much in its infancy, so it's across Vector Homes and Vector Labs. So myself, Jonas, and Tiago are primarily focused on Vector Homes, and Liam, Vince, and Xiaomeng are primarily focused on Vector Labs. A key part of this raise is to build out the team so they can properly transform into this group structure and start scaling both. But as I said, you know, we are covering a lot of stuff, but thank God we've been able to cover all of it very successfully. You know, Vector Labs is profit making, is working with some of the biggest companies in the world, has got some amazing IP coming through the labs. And Vector Homes got a fantastic pipeline. We've got our delivery chain and our supply chain in place. We've also got our latent defect warranties sorted so that we're go-to-market ready. And we are anticipating first sales to be signed off in the next month.
Okay, thanks.
Wonderful. Do you have other questions from the judges? Chris, no?
Yes. In fact, the cost per square meter compared to traditional construction.
Yeah, for sure. So ours comes in about 25% lower. In the UK, it's about 2,200 to 2,800 pounds a square meter. We have a fixed price model of about 1,800 a square meter, so it's 25% lower. The reason is you know, we don't build houses. I think it's a key thing to think about. I can sort of quickly go to the competition stage. So, you know, you've got brick and mortar, which is 75% bricks in 70, you know, major house builders are using 75% bricks in the UK at the moment. However, you know, the average age of a bricklayer is 59 and they're about to walk off a cliff. The volumetric guys have all failed because they've got hugely OPEX and CAPEX intensive business models and they've tried to capture the market. We're here to support the market. So we don't do any of the building. We're just enabling existing contractors to build a lot more efficiently. So we're removing layers of cost rather than adding on layers of cost with OPEX and CAPEX.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. This is really great. Thank you so much, Nathan. I hope you're on the WhatsApp group as well. Just a bit of advertising here, guys. So yeah, you can connect to each other over email. Take ages to reply, or you can do the same over LinkedIn. Take also ages to reply, or you can click on the link we just shared, which is the WhatsApp group. We have over 400 members now in there, and there's also a directory with 1,200 members in the Climate Tech Coalition globally. I think we have over 600 angel investors, and the top 50 VCs in climate are in there, including Lower Carbon, Breakthrough, all the big boys. So yeah, feel free to grab this until I change my mind and make it a very expensive subscription. Okay. Now, without further ado, there is Zachary here. Zachary, I'm pissed at you because I wanted to see you this trip, but I love you because you're a portfolio company in Chicago and you introduced me to awesome people. So yeah, I have mixed feeling about you, but it's okay.
In here, either hopefully France, fingers crossed, or New York.
Yep. No,
Coming to you.
Looking forward to that. All right, cool. So Zachary, feel free to share about what you're doing for the planet.
Awesome, I see it there. Good morning, everyone. I'm Zach. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Zabin, and today we're going to look in the future of cities and the future of work. Slides for sticking there. Our cities are facing a very big problem. They're the largest contributor to the climate crisis. They're producing 70% of all CO2 emissions, and they're consuming 40% of the world's energy. So how do we solve this? Well, the answer can be found in nature, where we can begin to design and retrofit our buildings with living, breathing technology, with nature-based climate technology and building materials. Here's the exciting thing. This isn't the stuff of sci-fi. This is happening now. It's happening in more than 60 cities with strict regulation and policy mandates around green roofs and biophilic designs. And it's also being accelerated with green building certification requirements. So LEED, WELL, green, these are all things we're all talking about. It also just makes sense to go green, right? It's better for the planet, for business. It increases property values. It improves energy savings. There's a lot of work being done around heat island mitigation, water storm management as we have more intense seasons and weather patterns. And also right now, we definitely enhances the marketability of buildings and cities, which we'll get into a little bit here. How big is this market? Just a really quick look. It's probably a little larger than what we're sharing, but 14 billion for nature-based climate technologies, that including green roofs and walls. And what's really exciting, we're going to drill in here, is there's a plant care service, which we're seeing as a software component of this. So we're already working with the world's largest property owners, tech companies, developers, architects. We're going to be delivering our 100th product the next few weeks here. So let's take a look at what this actually looks like. So this is Chicago. This is the Wills Tower. So this is with EQ Office, Gensler, and it's a black stone company. So we're seeing here, green roofs is part of this large development, and then our living walls or Model Zs. So it's the same technology that's being integrated from exterior to interior. We're also going to be looking at each of these floors. When you think of lobby areas and many spaces, and then the tenants in these commercial buildings, we're also delivering just plant care services to decarbonize the building's operations for just simple plant care. We'll also get into. On a larger scale, we're seeing this in San Jose, so transforming cities to become the world's first LEED certified. And again, nature-based climate technologies such as green roofs and living walls as part of this. This is not Zabin's rendering. This is from Kingakuma, the architect group there. Okay, so when we look at the actual technology, again, it's building blocks. So it's hydroponic. It's 15 times more water efficient than soil-based technologies. From an engineering and architect perspective, it's also 66% lighter than soil-based systems. So again, highly scalable. And then from our end, we're integrating sensor technologies that's ultimately going to optimize plant health, because we don't want to replace plants. We want plants to begin to be part of that fabric to breathe. And again, this is just another look. Again, a scalable technology. This is when we get into what I think is really exciting, is we're integrating software to run simulations on existing buildings and new products. So we're creating tangible ROIs in the forms of energy savings and carbon emissions, heat island mitigation, and water storage management. And then what we're doing with property owners mostly is, what does this mean when we roll this out across portfolios, which we're in that expansion phase. This is just, again, same technology, but just a shorter sales cycle for us. So we packaged it and created a model Z living wall. And what we wanted to do ultimately was to show these property owners, these architects, these designers, these engineers, hey, before we do these massive projects together, let's just start in an office, a lobby area, amenity space to get them comfortable. And ultimately, what we arrived to is 99% plant survivability from our sensor technology. So knowing that it's going to look and perform over time. And ultimately, what it's doing is creating microenvironments. Going back to kind of that the Willis Tower slide when you saw all those levels. So when we think of scalability for just even the plant care software side of the business, I know I'm just seeing that 5-minute mark here, I'll wrap it up, is it's just around traditional plant care. So we integrate our sensors in just traditional office plants. And just to give it an idea, there's 5.9 million commercial buildings in the US, just buildings, not businesses. So if we were just to tackle 5% of that, there's a $1.2 billion ARR business for us. Just really quick, the unit economics. We focused a lot around plant care software, again, traditional and new innovations, and as well as hardware. What we wanted to do ultimately was not having to reach massive scale to get returns and to drive profitability very early in the company. So we really focus on basically having rock solid margins on both software and the hardware side. So this is just looking at the software. We're on pace to just close a little under 400,000 ARR. We're profitable. We're growing pretty fast. We just delivered our first product in 2022. And again, we're going to be delivering our 100th product just 2 weeks here. We have zero churn. Our LTV CAC's pretty crazy. That's mostly just because it's from existing clients. That's all from word of mouth. So we're not doing any active marketing. And again, we're profitable really early here. Myself and my co-founder, we're yin and yang. I'm sales and marketing. My co-founder is our engineer and technical officer. So we divide and conquer, and we complement each other in that regard. And then we're raising 2 million. We have a little 1.2 closed of that 2 million. And it's just to grow our team. Again, we're looking to make some immediate hires on operations full-time. We have these people identified. Sales, we also have those individuals identified. And then we're just expanding markets. New York, San Francisco. We're going to be opening our showroom with Gensler in September, which will be really exciting. In office space, we're going to be there for now on. So we're moving from Chicago, and just to continue to innovate our technology. We want great partners that roll up their sleeves with us. Thanks for that time.
Yep.
Perfect timing. All right, so there's a few things here. Elk from GLL is in this call, Zachary. So this is the time where you need to do your best to impress, and you've done a good job. I'm curious what she thinks about what you're doing, how they could maybe be customers. But anyway, firstly, we have questions from Chris, and then we have Peng.
Yes. As green wall is a quite a competitive market with hundreds of competitors. First question, how do you compare to the others? The second question is, if you want to achieve a worldwide distribution, how do you deal with specific regional plant species which need a huge, let's say, knowledge and expertise?
Great questions. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Chris. There's a lot of different products on the market. I think first, if we're just going to differentiate, is definitely the technology. So what we're seeing is a lot of soil-based technology. So again, we're hydroponic in that sense. We're much lighter. And then there's actual technology into those growing panels. Again, they're optimizing really just watering events. So moisture, humidity, and temperature, that's all going to impact the plants that we're designing with, and then ultimately those irrigation events. The next question you asked was, hey, there's so many different regions, part of the world that are all going to incorporate different plants. It's a really great question. So what we do is we like to design with native plant species that are known in those regions. So just to give you an example, like here in the United States, a living wall or a green roof will look very different from a New York green wall versus a green wall or green roof you'd see in Seattle. So again, we're working designing with those native plant species. The really cool thing too, I guess, about the technology is it's very diverse in the sense. I mean, when we use rock wool as the actual growth medium that we're using, that's very you'd see that in a lot of ag tech companies because of its ability to absorb nutrients, deliver it, and ultimately the growth medium. So we can, I guess what I'm trying to say is we can grow quite a diverse plant species, some that can be found in nature in these systems, which is really fun.
Awesome. I think LK have a question. You made it, Zachary.
Well, Singapore definitely requires a bit of an adjustment. Probably the heat is going to kill a lot of plants. I was wondering, we also saw earlier, we saw the solar solutions. There's a lot of competition going on the roof. How do you see that debate? How that's evolving?
Yeah, great question. So we're getting into probably either later this year or early next is biosolar, where we actually had quite a few properties with JLL that we've been scoping out with your LaSalle team, your LaSalle investment management team. So we're doing a lot of those calculations around water storm management, energy savings around that. But yeah, I think as we're seeing it evolve in the space, there's intensive and extensive green roofs. What gets me really excited is the extensive green roofs. So a good example we use for JLL or other large property owners is maybe in the next 5 years, you're going to have to basically re-roof. That's when we want to start having those conversations. So we can show, hey, you're going to have to retrofit this roof in the next 5 years. Here's how we can actually create nature assets for JLL, but also energy savings on that roof, and to then explore if solar is even a viable option. That's definitely, as you already know, I'm sure, solar is a big mixed bag, particularly on commercial spaces.
It does. No, thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing more.
And thank you, LK. And now there is Kunat. Do you want to go ahead? Feel free.
Yes. Have you ever calculated the cost of your product per ton of carbon removed from the atmosphere?
Yes, and it's also difficult for the reason. So I guess quickly, if you were just to look at green roofs, if we were just to retrofit in large urban areas, 20% of roofing space, we could decarbonize as much as 5.4% global CO2 emissions just by creating living, breathing buildings. But a lot of that has to deal with the plant species that are being ultimately implemented, like trees are definitely lungs. We've done some really cool renderings or projects designed with Google, specifically in Chicago. Nope, I guess it's in the background here. Perfect. Okay, so that was our whole idea of creating living, breathing buildings on a larger scale. There are some research that was done around living walls specifically. I can't remember the number exactly. I know on green roofs, about every 1,500 square feet, and I apologize for that, metric system. They didn't teach us that here in the US. But every 1,500 square feet, with energy savings, with these benefits, about 1 ton of CO2 per year, what it equates to. Great question.
The reason why we invested is because of the vision and the momentum they have built in the United States, really being number 100 innovation of the year in the New York Times is not easy to get, and decarbonizing the roofers through creating green roof is a super huge market opportunity here. In fact, the background of Zachary is the Apple store in Chicago, and they are working on making it green, and so that's such a big deal. So we're really excited to have one of our portfolio here presenting, and we're looking forward to have more collaboration between you guys. So thank you, Zachary, and this is 4:30 a.m. here in San Francisco. So
I was gonna say, you're either doing a lot of traveling or you are not getting a lot of sleep today.
Yeah, I'm a bit tired from this, but we spend nearly half of the time in the US now, actually, US and France, and we spend little less time in Southeast Asia. But yeah, cool. So we have a great other company, and this one actually have GLL already as a customer. And this is Yuho. This one is very interesting. Today we've done a whole circle, right, through every component of the cities and urban environment on housing, and now we have a key one which we wanted to keep for the last, which is the pollution. And in Southeast Asia, there's a tremendous amount of pulmonary issues due to extreme pollution in cities like Jakarta, Ho Chi Minh, and Bangkok. And this is one of the reasons why I spend less time in Bangkok and Southeast Asia these days, because just the pollution is horrendous. So Yuho here is a great solution, and we have Dustin here who gonna tell us about this.
All right, thank you, John. Yeah, let me share my screen. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can.
All right, perfect. All right, yeah, nice to meet everybody. My name is Dustin, and together with my co-founder, Brian, we started Yuhu. I have allergic rhinitis, and my co-founder, Brian, has asthma. And when we were doing our MBA program in Hong Kong, we often got sick inside the school building and inside the dormitories. And we would complain to the school about this, but they never really did anything to improve the operations of the building. Even when we tell them there's mold on the wall, they still ignore it. So Brian and I eventually decided that we have to take it up ourselves, and we dropped our classes and started the company. The whole premise is that the quality of air indoors can be 5 times worse than outdoor air. And when we look at how we spend our lives, we spend 90% of our time indoors, whether we're at home, at work, or on commute. And poor air quality actually exacerbates health conditions. It creates allergies, respiratory conditions, and poor management of air quality inside buildings also increases the carbon emissions of buildings because of improper and inefficient energy management inside the building. So the question here is, how do you manage something that you can't measure, you cannot see? And how can you measure something that you cannot see? So the whole idea of this is that we created Yuhu as an environmental data platform for the built environment to improve health, to decarbonize, and to enhance ESG performance. In essence, we'll let you see what you cannot see, so you know exactly how to manage it. We have developed the world's most comprehensive environmental quality monitor, measuring at least 13 parameters and expandable up to 16. And we focus primarily on reliability and accuracy. We developed our own hardware and our own software, and it's plug and play. All you have to do is to power the hardware through USB, place it on a table or hang it on the wall, and connect it to the network either via Wi-Fi or through cellular. And once it's online, you will get all the data, the alerts, the trends on the dashboard and on the app. And we could also integrate directly with your building system so that we can automate your air conditioning, your heating, and your ventilation and lighting as well. And I'd like to share with you a case study with a commercial building. This is a case wherein we're in Southeast Asia. Temperatures outside are normally 35 to 40 degrees. But when you're inside your office, people would be wearing a jacket. Why should we do that? Why should we freeze ourselves inside the office, right? And the case here is that people don't know what's happening inside the building. So their thermostats were set at 24 degrees. But when we deployed our solution, we were measuring 19 degrees everywhere. And when they initiated an investigation of what was going on in the building, they found out that a number of their thermostats were no longer functioning properly, or were not calibrated, or were broken, or their feedback system to the building system was not working properly. So eventually what they did was they utilized our solution to provide the entire feedback loop with the building. And just after roughly 6 to 9 months, all their employee complaints disappeared from an average of 20 a month to 0. And because they're no longer overcooling the building, they were able to save 25% of energy. And this is equivalent to decarbonizing the building by approximately 30,000 tons. And this is the power of accurate and reliable data. Another case study that I can share with you would be on the tenant side this time, not the building owner. So they just renovated their office. It was a beautiful office. They were so excited, they just moved in. And after moving in, most of their employees started getting sick. And they didn't know what was happening, why they were getting sick. So we installed our solution across their entire office, and we were able to detect high levels of particles, high levels of volatile organic compounds, high levels of formaldehyde. So what we did was we integrated directly with the building system, and we automated the ventilation and the air conditioning of the building. And just approximately after 6 months, they were able to reduce 20% of their sick leave, and they were able to reduce 30% of their energy use. And this is equivalent to 3x in ROI of their investment in our solution within 6 months. And they were able to achieve the WELL Gold certification. So these are on the operational aspects and the operational value we provide our clients. On the more strategic value, we are able to help our clients achieve multiple different types of green building certifications, which Zach also brought up earlier, that companies already want to achieve these because this contributes highly to the ESG performance and rating of companies. And this is the reason why today we're serving more than 500 private and public enterprises across multiple countries. And the way we work with our clients is that we work with one location first, and we expand to their multiple locations or across their portfolio of assets. And aside from just working with enterprises, we're also able to secure one entire city in California. This is the city of Fontana, where they deployed us in all government facilities. That included the city hall, police stations, fire departments, elderly care homes, and the community centers. And their objective really is to make sure that all their facilities and buildings are healthy and safe for the people, and they're able to manage the energy efficiently within these buildings. And our business model is fairly simple. We sell multi-year SaaS contracts directly to our customers, and we sell the same to our value-added resellers who sell our solution back to the same types of customers. And we have been able to achieve what we have today because of our highly seasoned team that are passionate about sustainability with backgrounds in consulting, engineering, sales, and marketing. And today we have our Series A funding. We already have a lead investor and achieved our first close of 2.7 million just 2 months ago. And just 3 days ago, we also raised another 1 million in venture debt. And we're still open to bringing on board more investors to join our Series A funding round. And so I'd like to invite you to come join us, and let's build a cleaner, greener, and healthier world. Thank you. I'd be happy to take any questions that you have.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dustin. That was a really great pitch. Judges, do you have comments, questions? Please raise your hand. Okay, Kun Pang, feel free to go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. Can you also talk a bit about who's your target customer and how do you plan to actually go to market?
Hi, Kopang. Thank you for your question. Our target customers are mostly the real estate developers, the asset owners, the property developers. That's one side of the market. The other side of the market would be the tenants who occupy the spaces of the buildings. Because when you want to achieve green building certification, it can be done on the building level, and it can be done on the tenant level as well. So our go-to-market is in two forms. One, we go direct to the end customer, and then we work with them on their multiple or portfolio of properties. And another go-to-market would be through facilities management firms or distributors. For example, as of today, like CBRE recommends our solutions to their clients. Hushman and Wakefield actually resells our solutions to our clients. Yeah.
Very impressive. Chris, feel free.
Yeah. How do you position your offer compared to a large BMS company like Honeywell or Siemens or such like that, and they are proposing also indoor air quality measurement and yes, that's a question.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Chris. We actually work with all of these companies. For example, in Capital Land, Johnson Controls did not put their own sensors. They use us, and they integrated us into their system. So we control the Johnson Controls system and automated the HVAC. We've also done the same with Schneider, with Siemens, and with Jace. Yeah.
Okay, clear.
Yep.
Yeah, this is very impressive company. Thank you for coming, taking the time, Dustin. We really appreciate what you do. So, guys, this is real stuff here, right? Real innovation, bankable, making money. So for all the judges here, they're raising it around. Let's have a look together, and maybe co-invest. And in the meantime, I think this is one of the 25 companies that are Series A and selected as semi-finalists. They will be on the website. So yeah, there's a lot of work that have been done to screen those companies, and I think we've got really some of the top, not only in the region or Southeast Asia, but really global. And I think you see that scale and that level today. So thank you, everyone. If you don't have any questions, we're gonna wrap it up because this is almost 5 a.m. here in San Francisco, and this is almost 8 p.m. Singapore time. So yeah, this is great. Thank you so much for joining today. We had a great time together, going from the walls to the isolation to the roof to every side of the urban environment. We found solutions to decarbonize it, and they exist. They are here. They are thriving. They are sacrificing their time and their money to make this a reality and build a better future for our cities and our kids. So yeah, I would like to give a clap to all the entrepreneurs who've been pitching tonight. Yeah, let's send them some love. Let's send them some connections, and let's get them to do pilots with our companies.
Thank you so much, John.
Thanks to everyone here. And again,
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for the coalition and all the members. Yeah, you have the link in the group. Join our coalition. This is a great gang, and we help each other to build that impact. And this is really meaningful. So thanks, everyone, and looking forward to catch up with you on 101 or in person. The next step for this award will be the judges to vote online, and we'll have the finalists pitching in New York on 25th of September during Climate Week. So that's a big one. So I can only recommend you to take a flight ticket. It's really awesome. All the big funds, all the big guys are there in New York in September for Climate Week. So yeah, check this out. And yeah, keep up. Let's save that planet. It's worth it.